Welcome to another episode of Trojan TV Extra, a special edition of Trojan TV without announcements and lots of great news and feature stories. This week's theme is technology, followed by things you might not know about your teacher. Enjoy!
Ever since its release in August 12, 2014, Google Classroom has taken over most of traditional learning.
It's provided ways to have resources readily available for students that they can access at home. If they're absent, they can access the assignments. Their parents can look at the assignments rather than waiting for the next day when they come to class and then they have to get those assignments.
Google Classroom seems to have more advantages than disadvantages and is fully customizable by the teacher, who can use it for easy communication with students.
I use Google Classroom about 95% of the time. Typically what I do is I upload assignments for students to edit, make a copy for every single one of them. I upload a lot of videos, a lot of links into it to different websites, send students into different resources without having to go back and forth between paper and pencil.
Sometimes I've been at home and I've been editing or giving suggestions on writing assignments, and the students have been on at the same time, so it's a quick way for us to communicate that one-on-one without being in the classroom with them.
It's helpful by all your class work is in the same place. You can type on there, you can do all your classroom needs on there.
Some students and teachers have concerns geared towards Google Classroom.
Sometimes when you don't have Wi-Fi at home and you can't use it or get your homework done at all.
The one thing I do miss is from time to time it is nice to get away from a computer screen and work just paper, pencil, have a hard copy or a book in front of you rather than a computer screen.
According to Google, Google Classroom makes it easy for learners and instructors to connect inside and outside of schools. Classroom is a free web service for schools, nonprofits, and anyone with a Google account.
Well, I think learning's heading in a digital trend. Google Classroom does kind of open it up where you could, as a teacher, technically just assign everything through Google Classroom and make the entire classroom digital.
This has been Matt and Josiah reporting for Trojan TV.
With all the talk about screen time, we decided to take a look at how students and staff feel about Chromebook use.
Chromebooks have been very beneficial. I teach science, so I have 6th and 7th grade science, and Chromebooks have been very beneficial in my classroom because all kids have access to a Chromebook, so we don't have to check them out on certain days.
Well, they're beneficial because if I forget an assignment on Google Classroom, it allows me to see the assignment, and it also shows when they're due.
Teachers say Chromebooks give them more options for teaching students.
It allows me to do a lot of interactives and online simulations or learning about science topics using National Geographic. So in science, I love having Chromebooks and having kids have constant access to them at all times.
Despite the benefits of Chromebooks, students say they are being misused.
Well, people take advantage of having Chromebooks. They usually they go up on games while teacher's talking and they look away, and it's very distracting. It's like just someone playing a game while you're trying to learn.
They're negative to the class because people take advantage of them by gaming on them or going on other sites such as Amazon that I see, and they're distracting to others around them and also just to the class in general.
This has been Avery reporting for Trojan TV.
What new phone to get my daughter? I knew what Tessa wanted, a smartphone.
Recently, the TCAPS district showed the movie Screenagers to inform families about the disadvantages of electronics.
Screenagers, I thought, was a great example of social media and building that awareness for not just students but also for parents, and the importance of knowing what your student is doing when they're using social media or just that screen time in general.
Technology often causes students to become disconnected from their friends.
I think the district showed this movie because a lot of people are on their phones during classes and in between classes, and they're not really talking to other people.
You know, my hope is that there's an awareness that it's Technology is a great tool to have, but if we use that or overuse it, we're really losing out on those personal conversations and relationships with other people. And those are so important. And if anything, I want all of my Trojans to know that, put the screens down, step away from your computers, step away from your cell phones, and have a real conversation and have a real relationship.
The social media part I agreed with, because once you get a phone, you're going to be on it a lot of the time and become disconnected.
Although technology is very useful, overuse can have negative effects on students.
I hope they saw the dangers of technology. I hope they are so focused on their technology, they're almost obsessed with their technology, and I hope they saw that some of that has negative effects.
There's a big concern about technology use with our teenagers. There are higher cyber crimes that are happening in northern Michigan. And so the district really wanted to bring that level of awareness up to parents and students.
This has been Elise and Peyton reporting for Trojan TV.
Most students around East have heard of the word expelled. This means the action to take someone out of an organization.
We have two different ways of being expelled from school. One is a discretionary expulsion, where that's up to the administrator to determine if a student should be expelled. Another way to be expelled is a mandatory suspension or expulsion.
Being expelled would be, in my opinion, is you've probably done something relatively bad against school rules.
For students to be expelled, the process has many steps and thought put into it.
Well, there's a due process. We hear the evidence, and as far as an expulsion goes, the student and the school come together, and there's an officer.
So my role in the room is to listen to both sides, not just administration and not just the student. I take all of the facts and I weigh them. I look at the student's records in totality.
There are many ways you can be expelled that you may not know of.
Major forms of bullying, maybe putting something out on the internet that shouldn't be there.
Some, for example, that you might not even think about is if in your backpack you happen to have a steak knife that you went hunting with or something like that. If the blade is over 3 inches, it is mandatory that it goes to a disciplinary hearing.
There's so much that students need to be aware of. One is with the cyberbullying and trash talking that takes place on the social media, and it could be Snapchat, Instagram, Vine, I mean, you name it, whether it's a video, if it's actions or words or texts.
There's never a wrong time to speak up.
There's no wrong time to speak up. If anything, that's what's been really helpful in different situations here at East.
This has been Kara and Sydney reporting for Trojan TV.
For this week's episode of Things You Didn't Know About Your Teacher, we caught up with Mrs. Mackey and her love for Metallica.
Metallica, I've liked Metallica for, I think the first time I heard them I was maybe like 14 years old, and they were just so like loud and rebellious and amazing, and it was something really cool to be into back then. And then, over the years that they came and went for me, and I don't know, last maybe 10 years, I don't know, I'm back into them like big time for whatever reason. Just it's sounding right now.
Mackie's obsession for Metallica is taking her all around the country.
I have been to 3 and I have tickets for a 4th. So, and I never got to see him as a kid or a teenager. I had strict parents who wouldn't let me go to concerts and stuff like that. So, ironically, my very first Metallica concert, I took my son when he was 14 to go see it, and it was killer. We had a great time. Then I saw them in Detroit at a big festival. And then most recently, my husband and I flew to see them in Minneapolis with 55,000 people, which was amazing, very different, unique. A Metallica concert is loud, exciting, intense, and contrary probably to the popular belief about Metallica, they are insanely good musicians. They are probably better at their craft than when you're there live. It's just you're not hearing junk. You are hearing supreme musicianship. They play to the crowd. They're generous. It's a lively spirit. It's not violent. You know, a lot of that sort of stereotype about Metallica is not true. It's a darn good time.
Mackie has plans to go to 2 more concerts this summer.
We are flying to Dallas to see them in June for my husband's 50th birthday because his brothers live in Dallas, and so they're going to go with us.
This has been Willa and Rachel reporting for Trojan TV.
Thanks for watching this week's Trojan TV Extra. You can follow the DMC and Trojan TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook by searching @EastDMC. And don't forget to tune in on Friday for a regular Trojan TV.
This story was brought to you by 522 Pub and Grill, locally owned and operated in Manistee. This program was powered by Hackerty, feeling passion for cars by giving young people cool car experiences.